Even if we do live in a supposedly liberated society, there's definitely still that pressure for young women to feel worth through the image, and that is 100% perpetuated through 21st century social media, not to mention the 20th century instigators such as film, art, advertising, flippin' fairy tales, damsels in distress, etc, etc. So that's why a lot of my practice is very heavily based on Freud's 19th century theories of female hysteria, which I would say questions whether the woman is living in a sexual state of mind or a subsistent state of mind. A lot of my work involves me acting hysterical, usually in public, really physically expressing myself. And for me, that definitely exposes the underlying issues concerning gender roles, archetypal stereotypes, as well as genuinely exploring my own self-awareness. My passion surrounding the subject of the ambiguous perceptions of women critiques the way that society constructs both genders, so men and women, into certain categories and characteristics, and how effectively that impacts the female state of mind. A lot of my work is heavily based on my own thoughts and experiences as a young woman in the 21st century, furthering my understanding of how these perceptions actually impact the way that I interpret myself. And therefore, through integrating themes of surveillance and performance into my artwork, I've been able to utilise these personal experiences that I hold very close to subvert the visible female gaze in my own way, based on my own perception. Currently in my artwork, I'm very interested in the concept of women fighting back, adopting characteristics of aggression and dominance that typically, thanks to Western philosophy, are labelled as masculine traits. But when a woman gets riled up and argues back and says, "Don't you talk to me like that," they're accused of being hysterical and breaking down and going crazy. And is that because masculinity is threatened, or is that just because we are hysterical women? Who knows? But I think because it's such an ambiguous concept in our society, that by mocking the societal system of gender expectation as a strategy, I'm able to investigate issues of vanity, ego, appearance and reality. So typical, thank you to Western philosophy once again, feminine characteristics, so that I can join in the debates that continue to surround representations of young women today. Even if we do live in a supposedly liberated society, there's definitely still that pressure for young women to feel worth through the image, and that is 100% perpetuated through 21st century social media, not to mention the 20th century instigators such as film, art, advertising, flippin' fairy tales. A lot of my work involves me acting the woman is living in a sexual state of mind, surrounded with really physically expressing myself. My passion surrounding for me, that definitely involves me critiquing the way society concerning gender roles, archetypal stereotypes, as well as genuinely exploring my own self-awareness and characteristics, how that effectively that impacts the female state of mind. A lot of my work is heavily based on my own thoughts and experiences as a young woman in the 21st century. When we get such an ambiguous do live in a supposedly society, there's definitely still that pressure that young women feel worth through the image, and that is 100% perpetuated through 21st century social media, not to mention the 20th century instigators such as film, art, advertising, flippin' fairy tales. A lot of my work is in a sexual state of mind. My passion is on the subject, usually in public, really physically expressing myself, involves me, and for me that definitely exposes the underlying issues concerning gender roles, but also archetypal stereotypes, categories, as well as characteristics. Even if we do live in a supposedly liberated society, there's definitely still that pressure for young women to feel worth through the image, and that is 100% very heavily perpetuated through 21st century social media, not to mention the 20th century instigators, how we go advertising, for me that hysteria. Damsel in distress. Both genders into certain categories and characteristics. Social media. Surveillance cameras. Big tits. A boy in a dress. Seminal 20th century feminist artworks. Sex or subsistence. The societal system of gender expectation. Ego, vanity and reality. Hysterical female. Poise and appearance. Contemporary perceptions of young women. A skater boy or a ballet boy. Genuine self-expressionism. Dancing in the mirror.